one morning about 10 years ago, I was in the midst of a breakup. I was really, really unhappy with the work that I was doing, and I was attracting clients that weren't valuing me. I didn't have a level of self-worth to make any changes, and I was just miserable. And I just had this ongoing, relentless feeling of dread. Every single morning when I woke up, I would just feel, the heaviest dread. And it was awful. It was absolutely awful. And I had no idea what to do about it. I would automatically go into self-judgment and make myself wrong for feeling that way, make myself wrong for all the circumstances in my life that were contributing to that feeling of dread. My inner self-talk was appalling. So that was just it was just layer upon layer upon layer of hurt. And yeah, it was a really, really difficult time. And so back to that morning 10 years ago, instead of resisting what I was feeling, I actually surrendered. I decided, okay, I'm going to feel this. I'm going to feel whatever this is. And I somehow managed to put my thoughts to the side, and I just focused on the sensations in my body. I don't know why I started to do it. It was just something that I felt intuitively guided to do. And so the more I felt the sensations without attaching any meaning to what was going on, something started to happen. The sensations started to move and they started to change, and it started to get a bit lighter. And the more I felt, the more I could feel that there was actually movement and subtlety happening to that sensation, instead of it just being this heavy weight that I'd been feeling in my tummy. So I started to get really curious about that. And even though during that morning, when I just lay there feeling those sensations, even though it didn't go away completely, I recognized that there was something to this. There was something to feeling it that was far more powerful than just automatically going into resistance. So the next thing that happened after I started to surrender to those sensations is that I started to find like mentors and teachers who were guiding people into doing this work, feeling your way through it. And so I was able to get the support that I needed to continue the exploration of what I was feeling, because at first it can feel a bit unsafe. Like if you've spent a lifetime resisting whatever you're feeling in the body, to actually sort of start feeling instead of being in a constant state of resistance, it takes feeling some safety. And it also will be really helpful to get a guide to help you through that process. And that is what these calls are for. It's about relearning how to feel, because it's actually natural for us to feel what we're feeling. However, for whatever reason, across our life, and it might have been an upbringing when we weren't encouraged to feel our stuff. It might have been an upbringing where we were taught that certain feelings were bad and other feelings were good, and that the best thing to do with the bad feelings was to cut it off, shut it down, push it away, rather than expressing it and allowing it to move through our body. And so, that's a pretty big portion of the population who were taught, including myself, that certain feelings were bad and certain things were good. So that meant that I cut off a lot of my natural self, because whenever I would feel anger or sadness or frustration or jealousy, you know, all those things that are part of the natural human experience, I would just automatically make myself wrong. And now I have so much compassion for who I was back then, totally like censoring myself, you know, and not allowing just that natural movement of feeling and sensation. The other factor that was really important for me in all of this is that my capacity to feel deeply is actually my greatest gift. And it took me a long, long time to figure that out, because my capacity to feel deeply means that I have been to some really dark places, and I've been to some really elevated places as well. So within that spectrum of feeling, you know, I can hold space for it all. I can hold space for that darkness. I can be there with you. I can meet you there and love you through it. And I can also celebrate with you when you're feeling those elevated emotions as well. Because guess what? That's what happens. That's the natural next step when you start to process some of those heavier things. It creates space for the truth of who you are, for the soul energy to come pouring through you in ways that maybe you've never experienced before. And so these calls are about all of it. Everything is welcome here, everything, because as humans, we have an amazing capacity to experience a wide range of different feelings and sensations. So let's give ourselves full permission to feel it all.